I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist. I had to do this video. Why spiritual bypassing isn't actually spiritual bypassing. Uh, as someone who has studied with numbers of healers and teachers and gurus and whatnot, I have learned from these people who just completely bypassed any questions I would ask, or dismiss my questions with, very vague excuses. But let's start with the first thing, right? Let's define what is spiritual bypassing and why I think it's not actually spiritual bypassing. So spiritual bypassing is when someone uses spirituality in some way as an excuse to avoid addressing an issue or a conflict or a relationship, right? So some of the things that they will typically do, and I've experienced this as well, is they will use spiritual terminology to excuse either their own behavior or try to explain something away. So I've had a teacher who accused me of transmitting negative alien interference to him after we had had sex, rather than actually dealing with whatever negative emotions were arising between us and just using like negative aliens as some kind of excuse, thereby giving neither of us the opportunity to work through whatever negative emotions or conflict we were having. Another person used astrology to avoid, to explain why he decided to go against my sexual boundaries. And this was a tantric practitioner. So he explained that Mars and Venus were in certain positions in the sky, and that was why he decided to kind of break one of my sexual boundaries. So, so this is why I actually want to say that spiritual bypassing isn't spiritual bypassing. It's actually emotional bypassing. It's avoiding dealing with the emotional situation that's going on, and it's usually in relationship to another. So when we are afraid to deal with the conflict that's happening or the emotions that are happening in the moment, we like to hide behind spiritual terms, to explain things away, instead of just dealing with the issue at hand. This is healing in and of itself. If you're dealing with issues directly, all healing happens in the present moment. It doesn't have to be some kind of fancy spiritual energy healing technique. It can be simply speaking to someone, and just saying, hey, what's going on here? And, I'm confused as to why this happened. Or why are such demands being made of me? Or why did you ignore, my request to respect a certain boundary? And this is an opportunity to get curious about one another, to find out, okay, well, what is going on for you? What anxiety might there be in this moment? And could we perhaps address that instead of hiding behind spiritual terminology? Yeah. So really, this is about emotional bypassing. And as I think you'll agree, most of us in the spiritual community, the whole reason we became healers or became interested in healing in the first place was because we've experienced a lot of trauma. And so a lot of us, we're still on our journey, and, we're still trying to find answers for the trauma or the emotional upset that we've experienced in life. But instead of dealing with it head on, we're just going round the edges just trying to find some kind of spiritual or intellectual answer for a problem. And so a lot of people who are running around in the spiritual community, like fake gurus and spiritual teachers who are abusive, they have got a lot of emotional mental health problems. So, you really need to choose people carefully as to whether they're the right person to guide you. And I would say the ones who are sharing parts of their journey, that are sharing that they're not completely healed, nobody is completely healed, and don't mind sharing what they've learned on their way, and are also honest about where they can't help you. At least the ones who are working from a place of honesty about what they can help you with, but also their own limitations. This is someone who is honest and who at least can be upfront about what they can and can't do for you and with you. So this really is about emotional bypassing, and it's a lot of it is down to people having insecure attachment styles, insecure love and relationship attachment styles. And they've learned a lot of these negative ways of operating in relationship from their caregivers, from their parents. So a lot of people are either, dismissive avoidance, or they're anxious, they're clinging and needy, or they're fearful avoidant, disorganized attachment style, where they're hot and cold. And nobody's actually resolving a lot of these emotional issues. So if you would actually like someone to give you their honest opinion about where you're at, and you're interested in learning where you could go deeper on your healing journey and actually reclaim your power from any spiritual abuse that you might have suffered in life, and you want to learn how to stay in your own power and not give your power away to any spiritual teacher or guru, not me, not anybody, then I'm happy to show you the way to do that. Okay, folks, be true to yourselves, be honest, even if it's difficult, and try and find a way to communicate. I'm sending you so much love. Take care for now. Bye.